Hello and welcome to this video on introduction to TOK in association with the TOK integration courses. First of all, let's think back to a time you finished school, college and possibly university. You've acquired a lot of formal knowledge and a lot of academic knowledge. You have studied your own language and learned how to use it effectively. It may be safe to assume you've also probably studied a second modern language, a subject from the natural sciences like biology, chemistry, physics, some maths, and maybe one or two from the arts like music and drama. Each of these subjects or disciplines you have studied is special in its own way. What you have learned in science is different kind of knowledge from what you've learned in history, and what you've learned in history is a different kind of knowledge from what you've learned in maths. Of course it is, I hear you say impatiently. In science we learn about the physical world, in history we learn about the past, in maths we learn about abstract space and quantity, in ITGS, we learn about the social and ethical concerns of technology around the world. Of course, all these subjects are different, and you are right, these disciplines have their own subject matter, their own content, with which you're already familiar with. These subjects are different in other ways too. They are different in the way their knowledge is created. The way in which scientists advance the boundaries of scientific knowledge is different from the way of creating mathematical knowledge. This means also that the nature of the knowledge itself, not only its content, varies from discipline to discipline. The kind of knowledge you have acquired from studying science is a different kind of knowledge from the knowledge you have acquired in disciplines, science, history and math, and looks at the truth that underpins their concepts and their tests for validity. That is the first distinctive feature of theory of knowledge, to which it should be introduced. Theory of knowledge examines the nature of knowledge in each of the disciplines. Each discipline, but also what it has in common with other disciplines. Of course, you have learned many other things in your life, both in and out of school, in addition to the formal knowledge of the school disciplines. You've acquired a set of values which decide, for instance, how you treat other people, where you'd go for holidays, what books you read, how habits are, how you vote at the next election, and under what circumstances, if any, you are prepared to lie or kick your grandmother to death. Theory of knowledge explores nature of the knowledge on which your values and beliefs are based. That brings up to the second distinctive feature of theory of knowledge, to which you should be introduced. This is the theory of knowledge explains how we know what we know, our way of knowing. Before you look at the nature of science or math or history, we need to begin to understand the different ways of knowing we have acquired. Since or even before we have started to use our brains, we know certain things about our sense, perceive them. Other things we know because we reason them out, some things we know through our intuition or through our beliefs. We know things in a variety of ways. Being aware of these ways of knowing is part of theory of knowledge. When we begin to understand how we know something, we are on our way to understanding the value of what we know. Theory of knowledge also invites you to think critically about both the different forms of knowledge and the different ways of knowing. You are invited to evaluate the relevance and significance of different disciplines and relate them to your values and your own way of knowing. Thinking, learning and creating. Different disciplines demand different ways of thinking. Because of this, theory of knowledge will help you with your other studies if you know what a subject is really about. As distinct from knowing something within that subject, then your understanding of that subject and how you study it will be widened. You'll begin to understand why certain subjects are for you easier than others, and this understanding will help you improve your performance in both those subjects you find challenging and those you learn with ease. Theory of knowledge is not an abstract academic subject, although understanding parts of it certainly requires abstract thought. Theory of knowledge is a practical subject that helps you understand yourself and the subjects you are studying or may study in the future. It helps you to begin to understand not only the nature of disciplines and how you respond to each one, but also your own way of thinking and learning and your own value system. This is the end of the TOK introduction video. Thank you.